You can smell it before you see it. The soft crackle, the golden edge curling in the pan. Bacon isn't just food. It's a ritual. From diners in small towns to brunch tables in the city, it bridges every class, every kitchen. A few strips can turn a plain egg into comfort or crown a five-star breakfast with pride. But behind that familiar sizzle lies a quieter story, one of shortcuts, additives, and illusions. The bacon we grew up trusting has been reshaped by speed and profit water, injected for weight sugar, glazed for shine smoke flavors, sprayed instead of smoked. And that's not even the worst part. Walk through the aisles of Costco or Walmart, and you'll see rows of packages promising the same words, natural thick-cut maple. They look honest, but which ones truly are? In this video, we'll find out exposing 5 bacon brands to avoid, and 2 that are genuinely worth your plate. The first one may surprise you. 1 Hormel Black Label. The label says black, the flavor says smoke, but the smoke never touched fire. That's the quiet trick behind one of America's best-selling bacons. A process that looks authentic, smells familiar, and yet is almost entirely manufactured. Hormel's Black Label is polished and confident on the shelf, wrapped in glossy black film with streaks of red that promise depth and craftsmanship. But open the pack, and you'll notice something. The smell rushes out strong, almost perfumed before the pan even heats up. It's not from real wood smoke. It's from a shortcut. Instead of slow smoking over hickory or applewood for hours, most slices are treated with what's called liquid smoke, a vapor collected from burned wood, cooled down, then sprayed or dipped onto pre-cooked meat. It's fast. It's efficient. It keeps every package smelling identical from Maine to California. But it also means that what you taste is not smoke slowly absorbed into the meat. It's a layer of scent painted on top. That difference changes more than flavor. Real wood smoking naturally dries and preserves meat, which keeps sodium levels modest. But when flavor has to be simulated, salt becomes the safety net. 2 slices of this bacon carry roughly 300 to nearly 500 milligrams of sodium, about 1/5 of what most doctors suggest for an entire day. For older adults watching, blood pressure, that's not a small detail. Cooking makes the issue clearer. These slices brown quickly and often burn at the edges before the fat melts out. That's because surface flavoring reacts faster to heat than true smoke fibers would. What looks like crispy is sometimes just charred sugar and sprayed smoke essence. The result tastes sharp at first bite, but fades fast, a temporary illusion of richness. Health-wise, the main worry isn't a single breakfast. It's habit. Dietitians have long warned that regularly eating heavily cured or flavored meats may stress the heart and digestive system over time. Most of that concern comes from 3 simple things: too much salt, too many preservatives, and high-temperature frying that darkens the meat. None of those are unique to this brand, but the combination makes it one of the heavier hitters on the grocery shelf. So what can you do if you still love bacon? You don't have to give it up. Just treat it like a treat, not a routine. Keep it to once or twice a week. Cook it slower at a medium temperature so it browns gently instead of burning fast. And balance the plate. Fresh tomatoes, spinach, or orange slices add natural vitamin C, which helps your body handle cured meats more smoothly. If you enjoy the smoky note, look for packages that say wood smoked or naturally smoked over hickory, not smoke flavor added. It's a small label difference that tells a much bigger story about how your food is made. Bacon should taste like time and care, not chemistry and speed. And the good news is, real smoke still exists. You just have to read past the shine on the wrapper. Because when something smells this good, it deserves to be genuine. And if that imitation smoke worries you, the next brand turns deception into weight, quite literally. 2 Oscar Mayer. It looks thick. It even feels heavy. But what's inside that weight? For generations, Oscar Mayer meant breakfast done right. The red and yellow label you could trust to wake a Sunday morning. Families stacked the packs into carts, certain that the brand's name stood for generosity. The slices looked wide, meaty, full. But then the pan tells a different story. Drop a few pieces in, and the noise is louder than usual, more hiss than sizzle. The surface steams before it browns, the air turns misty, and soon the strips begin to curl and shrink. What had seemed like hearty ribbons of pork fold into half their size, pale in the middle and greasy around the edges. You can almost see the water escaping, quick, impatient, taking the weight you paid for with it. The smell is familiar, maybe even comforting, but it fades too quickly. The edges turn amber before the fat ever crisps. What remains isn't burnt, it doesn't taste finished either. The first bite is chewy, not crisp soft, where you wanted snap and faintly wet inside. The salt lingers, but the depth that smoky sweet rhythm bacon used to have is gone. This isn't a cooking mistake, it's the recipe. Modern production adds extra liquid to make each pack appear fuller and weigh more. The science behind it is simple, a little brine, a little phosphate, a little efficiency. But the result feels like a quiet betrayal, paying for volume that vanishes the moment the skillet warms. I once watched an older neighbor fry a pound of this brand for a church breakfast. She laughed at how it seemed generous in the bag enough to feed 10. By the time the tray came out, there was barely enough for 5. She stared at the pan, wiping the thin film of grease with a towel, and said softly, "It's not the bacon I grew up with. And that's what sticks with you. Not anger. Just a sense of something lost the satisfaction of seeing a strip hold its shape, the pride of serving food that stayed honest under heat." The modern version still smells like comfort, but it behaves like something else entirely, an echo of what bacon used to be. The packaging still looks cheerful, the name still feels American, and for a moment, you want to believe it's the same as before. But when it hits the pan, the truth shows itself in the puddle that forms in the way the slices pull back in that quick hiss that sounds less like cooking and more like a sigh. Because bacon should whisper as it crisps, not scream as it dries. It should hold steady, golden and proud, not slip away with the steam. And maybe that's why this brand leaves a strange silence after breakfast, not guilt, not anger, just that small, hollow space where real flavor used to stay. 3. Smithfield. Smithfield's maple thick cut isn't cured in syrup, it's flavored with it. Sugar smoke essence and artificial maple create the illusion of craft where automation rules. Behind the label that evokes small-town smokehouses lies one of the most efficient bacon systems in America. Instead of hanging slabs in slow-burning wood rooms, Smithfield runs enormous curing drums, stainless steel cylinders, where pork bellies tumble in a mist of sugar, salt, and flavor oil. Each turn coats the surface evenly, locking in shine, not depth. The same process that would take 8 hours in a smokehouse now finishes in less than 30 minutes. The strips then glide through conveyor tunnels where vaporized smoke condensate, a liquid made by collecting and cooling wood smoke is sprayed through jets. It's not fake in the legal sense, but it's not the slow kiss of hickory fire either. It's flavor on demand. Every strip smells identical. Every batch browns predictably. Every label can boast maple without ever seeing a tree. That uniformity is no accident. A real maple smokehouse might handle a few thousand pounds a day. Smithfield's modern curing line produces 10 times that, all consistent, glossy, and shelf-stable. The system saves on fuel, labor, and space. When each batch moves faster, the company can push more volume into distribution without relying on regional smokehouses or seasonal wood. It's an industrial solution wrapped in nostalgia. Economically, the formula works. Adding sugar to the brine extends shelf life by reducing oxidation, while the sweetness covers small differences in meat texture between suppliers. Color stabilizers keep the pink hue lively for weeks. For marketers, that means no surprises, no dull tones, no uneven stripes, no regional variation. What looks natural is actually the absence of nature's unpredictability. The maple flavor also solves a cultural problem, it bridges generations. Sweetness has universal appeal. Older customers associate it with home-cooked breakfasts and pancake houses. Younger families see it as kid-friendly. The result is a bacon that hits emotional notes before it ever touches the tongue. In focus groups, people recall the smell, not the taste. That's exactly what the company optimizes for. Supermarkets do their part too. Lighting above the meat aisle casts a warm amber glow, the same spectrum used in bakery displays. Under that hue, Smithfield's glossy finish looks richer, the syrupy edges shimmer. It's theater, not deception, sensory cues designed to suggest premium quality while keeping production costs low. The aroma test in-store, that sweet air that drifts when you pass the refrigerated section, comes from controlled venting of flavor compounds during packaging. It's deliberate. It's engineered to stop your cart. Ask any food scientist why the industry moved this way, and the answer is almost always efficiency. Hand smoking requires craft space and patience. Vapor flavoring requires consistency and scale. The trade was inevitable once bacon became a commodity, but there's a quiet irony in that shift. The pursuit of authentic taste is now achieved through algorithms of temperature, humidity, and sugar ratios. As food technologist Dr. Ellen Sims explains, The transition from natural smoke to condensed vapor wasn't about deceiving consumers, it was about logistics. When flavor becomes a function instead of a result, authenticity gets engineered out of the system. Smithfield didn't break tradition by accident. It refined it into a business model, one that sells sweetness uniformity and the idea of heritage at industrial speed. The product still delivers a familiar aroma, still sizzles with confidence, still fills a kitchen with warmth. Once you know how it's made, that scent changes meaning. It's not the smell of maple anymore. It's the smell of efficiency. 4, great value. I bought it every week for years, thought I knew it. A retired truck driver said his hands folded over a cooling pan. Then one day it fried like paper thin, dry, nothing left. Same box, same store. I just stopped trusting it. That single moment captures the quiet problem behind Walmart's great value bacon. It isn't the flavor or even the fat. It's the uncertainty. Every pack looks the same blue stripe, same proud lettering, same price that feels like a bargain. But what customers rarely see is that great value doesn't come from one factory. It comes from many. Across the country, Walmart contracts with several regional processors. Each uses slightly different curing mixes, salt levels, and cooking times depending on cost, raw supply, and equipment. On paper, it's still great value. In the pan, it's a new bacon every week. That's how private label sourcing works. Instead of running their own smokehouses, large retailers build a network of suppliers. When pork prices rise in one region, another supplier steps in. If a plant hits a bottleneck, the recipe shifts slightly to keep shipments moving. It's an invisible rotation that keeps prices low and shelves full. But it also means consistency. The thing most people assume they're buying quietly disappears. In practice, that inconsistency shows up in the kitchen. One pack cooks beautifully, even sizzle golden fat crisp edges. The next week, same label, but the slices bubble unevenly, corners curl grease pools in odd places. Sometimes the color leans pink, sometimes deep brown before the center even firms up. You haven't changed your stove. The bacon has changed itself. It isn't fraud. It's flexibility, the kind of logistical advantage that lets a retailer the size of Walmart keep bacon under $5 a pack when raw pork prices swing wildly. By shifting between suppliers, they absorb cost instead of passing it to consumers. On spreadsheets, it's a success. In kitchens, it's confusion. And that confusion eats away at something older than brand loyalty routine. Breakfast used to be dependable. You'd wake, heat the pan, know exactly how long each strip needed to reach that soft crackle before toast popped. Now even the smell feels unpredictable, sometimes rich and meaty, other times faint and flat. The difference isn't your skill, it's the source. For most people, the appeal of great value is simplicity, a name that promises fairness. But when that promise slips even subtly, it changes the relationship. You start second-guessing your timing, your pan, yourself. And eventually, as that truck driver did, you stop buying it, not because it's bad, but because you can't trust it to be the same twice. Behind that small kitchen moment lies the quiet truth of modern retail food. Sameness is an illusion built on constant change. The label stays fixed, so the supply can move. It's a clever system, efficient and scalable, but it trades something human for something mechanical. Bacon shouldn't feel like a gamble. It should sound the same, cook, the same smell, the same, a small piece of morning you can count on. Great value once carried that reliability. Today, it carries volume instead. And when the smell rises from the pan, uneven and uncertain, you can't help but wonder if even breakfast can't stay the same. What else have we started getting used to losing? 5 Right brand. It wears a badge of pride, thick-cut, premium crafted. But in a market built on appearance, the word premium isn't a guarantee, it's a strategy. Walk through any grocery aisle, and Right brand stands taller than the rest. The black and silver bag gleams under soft lights, the slices inside arranged like ribbons of marble. The message is clear, this isn't ordinary bacon. It's the choice for people who care, who want real, who don't mind paying more for something better. Behind that confidence lies an uncomfortable truth. This bacon is born from the same system that makes the cheaper ones. The curing, slicing, and sealing all happen on the same factory lines. The difference isn't in the process, it's in the pitch. Tyson Foods, the parent company, doesn't need to reinvent the recipe. It only needs to repackage the feeling. That's how modern capitalism works in food. Premium has become the soft language of reassurance, a way to sell repetition as distinction. The line between the basic and the crafted is often no thicker than the plastic that separates their packaging. We buy the same substance twice each time, dressed in a different illusion of care. For the company, its efficiency is perfected. One supply chain, two audiences, the frugal and the aspirational. A single machine feeds both markets, one strip labeled "Every Day," another called "Signature." It's not deceit, it's design. Each tier gives consumers a sense of choice, even when the difference is mostly in font and finish. And that's where we, the customers, step into the circle. We crave reassurance in a world of abundance. We want to believe that paying more buys honesty. That price is proof of integrity. The grocery aisle becomes a mirror where we see ourselves reflected in the brands we choose. Wright's packaging doesn't just promise better bacon, it promises better taste, better judgment, better identity. A young couple once joked in a focus group, "We buy this one because it feels fancier." They smiled, but that sentence might as well be the brand's mission statement. The feeling is the product. The comfort comes not from how it's made, but from what it says about us when we buy it. The trouble is, the feeling doesn't last. Once the pan heats, the illusion fades. The same curl, the same smoke, the same salty film remain. The slice shrinks as any other would. The sound, that quick, eager hiss, tells the truth no matter what it costs the system that made it never changed. Capitalism doesn't thrive on lies. It thrives on belief. It learns what we want to feel: safe, special, smart, and sells that back to us wrapped in the comfort of packaging. It teaches us that to be thoughtful is to buy thoughtfully branded things. And so the loop continues. Our search for authenticity becomes its greatest opportunity. The irony is quiet. Wright brand doesn't break its promise, it fulfills it in the only way the market allows. It gives us the experience of believing in something better, even if only for the walk from shelf to skillet. Because in the end, the product isn't the bacon. It's the faith we bring to it, faith that the word premium still means something. And when that faith burns off in the pan, what lingers isn't disappointment. It's recognition that in this endless circle of desire and design, maybe we're all just buying a little piece of the story we wish were still true. After everything we've peeled back, it's time to breathe again. For too long, these stories have sounded the same: illusion, efficiency, compromise. But there's another side to the aisle, quieter, smaller, often overlooked. A handful of brands still cure their bacon, slowly still use real smoke, still print labels that match what happens behind the door. They don't shout in bright packaging or call themselves crafted. They just are. In their hands, food regains its patience, its honesty, and its scent of real wood instead of chemistry. Let's step toward them, the ones still worth the sizzle. 6 Niman Ranch. This next one feels familiar, not for its look, but its integrity. Niman Ranch doesn't sell nostalgia. It sells honesty. And these days, that might be the rarest flavor left in America's grocery aisles. In a world where nearly every slice is engineered for speed, Niman's bacon feels like something remembered: slower, steadier, confident, without shouting. The story begins far from factory smoke tunnels, on family farms, scattered across the Midwest and mountain valleys, where animals are still raised crate-free without antibiotics or growth drugs. Here, the pace is deliberate. Farmers work in small herds because each animal matters. The hogs eat well, live longer, and grow into what pork used to be before industrial shortcuts rewrote the rules. When their meat arrives at the curing facility, it doesn't go through a chemical tumble or flavor spray. It's treated the way bacon used to be: rubbed, rested, and smoked over real wood. The smoke isn't atomized, bottled, or condensed. It drifts slowly through the room, touching each slab as if time itself were seasoning it. The process takes days instead of hours, but the difference is visible and fragrant. The slices aren't perfect, that's the first good sign. Some are a touch thicker, some leaner, their edges naturally uneven. The color runs deeper red with corners darker from real wood fire. When they hit the pan, there's no burst of steam or chemical sting. The fat melts gently, not violently. The sound is quieter, a steady, calm sizzle instead of a hiss. And the smell fills the kitchen, slowly blooming like an old memory rather than an advertisement. One farmer from Iowa said it best: "You can't rush something you expect people to trust. It's not a slogan, it's a way of working that refuses to cut corners." Niman Ranch still believes that patience is an ingredient, that time itself adds value, and that food grown with respect carries a different kind of weight on the plate. In a market obsessed with volume, their model seems almost rebellious. Real wood smoking costs more. Smaller farms mean tighter margins. Slow curing limits how much can ship each week. But those limits are also what make the brand human. Every package can be traced back to a farm, a family, a set of hands. When you taste it, you're tasting accountability. The difference isn't just in flavor, it's in how it makes you feel to cook it. Real smoke doesn't cling to the air or leave a bitter haze. It lingers softly. The salt balances with natural sweetness. The fat carries warmth instead of grease. Each bite feels earned, not manufactured. And maybe that's what we've been missing. Not another diet rule or miracle label, but a sense that our food still means something. Niman Ranch reminds us that integrity isn't nostalgia, it's work. It's choosing to make less but make it right. Because when bacon comes from patience, it stops being a product and becomes a craft. And in that first quiet bite, crisp but tender, smoky but gentle, you remember what real food was supposed to sound like, the slow, honest sizzle of time well spent. 7 Applegate Naturals. This next one might look modern, bright, clean, almost corporate. But behind that simplicity is one of the few big names still holding on to old values. Applegate Naturals isn't a small batch farm brand with burlap packaging and handwritten labels. It sits in big stores, Walmart, Costco, Kroger, right next to the ones we've warned about. However, something feels different when you pick it up. The beige paper tones the small green leaf, the absence of fake promises. No chef's secret, no crafted illusion. Just a quiet confidence that speaks without shouting. Open the package and you see the difference immediately. The slices are even but not shiny, a little firmer to the touch, slightly darker around the edges. They look simple, almost plain until they hit the pan. Then a slow, steady aroma rises, smoke that's soft and real, not the perfume spray of flavor oil. It fills the room like a memory you didn't expect to return. Customers notice too. One review on a major retailer's site reads, "It's more expensive, yes, but at least I know what I'm paying for. It cooks, clean, smells right, and doesn't leave that chemical tang." Another says, "I used to buy cheaper brands. Now I'd rather eat less but eat real." And that's the quiet truth of Applegate's bacon. At around $7 to $9 a pack, it isn't cheap, but it's fair. The price reflects the time and materials, not marketing gloss. It's made with pork raised without antibiotics or added hormones, and cured without synthetic nitrates or nitrites. Even its smoke comes from actual wood, not concentrated vapor. In a system where natural has been emptied of meaning, Applegate decided to fill it back up. Their version of natural isn't moral theater. It's a series of small, verifiable decisions, sourcing animals, humanely avoiding shortcuts, keeping labels honest. That clarity doesn't need romance to sell, it just needs consistency. A father from Wisconsin described it in an interview, "I don't have time to read every ingredient. I just want to trust what I bring home. This brand never made me regret it." He isn't talking about luxury. He's talking about relief, the comfort of not having to doubt what's in your skillet. In a world of slogans, that kind of quiet trust might be the most valuable thing left. What Applegate offers isn't perfection. Some packs are leaner, some a little saltier, some crisper than expected. But that's the point, real food varies. The beauty is in the honesty, not the uniformity. In many ways, Applegate is what the modern food industry could be if it learned from its excess efficient, yet respectful, large-scale, yet responsible. It doesn't pretend to be a farm, nor does it hide behind heritage myths. It simply does the work and lets the flavor prove it. Because at the end of the day, reform doesn't have to look rustic, it just has to be real. And when that pan warms, and the first wave of true wood smoke drifts through your kitchen, you understand something simple. Maybe progress isn't about inventing new tastes at all. Maybe it's about remembering the old ones and keeping them honest enough to stay. We've traveled from illusion to integrity, from bacon engineered for speed to those still crafted with care. Each brand told a story not just about food, but about how trust is built, stretched, and sometimes lost on the grocery shelf. The truth is, bacon itself was never the problem. It's what we've allowed it to become, a product of shortcuts and packaging instead of patience and pride. As we've seen, there are still makers who honor the old rhythm, who treat time and honesty as ingredients. So when you walk through that aisle again, pause. Look closer. Read beyond the slogans. Every dollar you spend shapes what survives tomorrow. Choose patience over polish, truth over trend. That's how real bacon stays alive, not through nostalgia, but through awareness. Because purity doesn't come from the label, it comes from the choices we make.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.